Hey there, this is the Totnes Hemp show, the Hempy show for Hempy people, live here from Totnes in dearest Devon with me, Chris Bovey, on Critical Mass Radio. With us today, we've got a lovely lady, Tina Mendes, who I've had the pleasure of knowing through my association with NORML UK. Can you hear us, Tina?
Hello, Chris. Good evening.
Hey, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good. As you know, this show is a show where we often talk about cannabis and cannabis issues. You are a medicinal user of cannabis, yeah?
Yes, that's correct. I've been consuming cannabis for 24 years in total. For nearly 13 years, I've been consuming cannabis medicinally. No pharmaceutical meds. My body was subject to a lot of abuse while I was on pharmaceutical medication. Kind of had a detox off of pharm meds, and I haven't touched them since.
Yeah, they're pretty nasty, some of those pharma meds.
That's right. I was on tramadol and oral morphine. Even though I have been prescribed morphine, I haven't taken it. So much so that some was found.
That's like pharmaceutical heroin, yeah?
As far as I'm concerned, the only gateway drug to heroin is pharmaceutical medication. I'm a great believer that once people are under maximum dose of tramadol and oral morphine, they really haven't got much choice.
Yeah, we had Des Humphrey on the show before, and he said he's been prescribed that, and he said, yeah, it gets rid of the pain, but also just shuts you down.
That's right. It does a lot more than that. I mean, because it is legal heroin really that we're being prescribed when it comes to tramadol and morphine, as far as I'm concerned, once your body's addicted to the small amount, they kind of top it up until you're, addicted to the maximum dose, and then really there's no other way but for you to self-detox.
Yeah, do you have to take more and more than one for it to work? That's
right. It's just because towards the end you're not actually dealing with the primary element condition that you started taking the medication for. You're kind of taking it to top up the pain and the withdrawal symptoms from you being addicted to the maximum dose of it.
And of course more toxins into the body, which is completely against the sort of Eastern medicine approach, which is about detoxification. Mm-hmm. So what condition is it you take it for?
I have a number of element medical conditions. I don't just have one medical issue. Some of them are not really recognizable to the local people and to people in general. Some people might have never even heard of it. I suffer from Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease, type 1A, which the nerves destroy the muscles and they go on destroying the bones. There's really no treatment, no cure for it. I also suffer from Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, type 3, which is most commonly known as hypermobility syndrome, which in itself is, it's horrible. I also suffer from postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is known as POTS, which is kind of, when I stand up, I feel really dizzy and the blood kind of rushes to my feet. So I also suffer from a lot of neuropathic pain and neuromusculoskeletal pain. I have frozen shoulders. I have osteopenia, which is a level below osteoporosis. I suffer from irritable bowel syndrome, chronic back pain, and a heap of other stuff.
That's quite a long list.
Yeah.
But you've got not a cure, but you found something that massively helps with these conditions, and that's smoking cannabis. That's
right. I utilize cannabis in numerous ways. I consume it by making butter, cream, tea, edibles, vaporizing it, and obviously, I do have a spliff as well.
Yeah. What's it do?
Well, what does it do? It unwinds and untangles my muscles. it kind of helps me to live as much of a dignified life as it allows me to be honest with you, because when you're on pharmaceutical medication, you don't have a dignified life. You're just there, kind of thing. So yeah, cannabis allows you to have a dignified life, and I'm able and capable of living, which I think everyone deserves.
So it's a pain reliever.
That's right. It does a lot of things, Chris. I can't say that it just deals with my pain. It deals with my emotional side, my mental side, my spiritual side, my physical, emotional, so it kind of works in every angle.
Yeah, and of course, because we're not in a situation like our friends in Spain or the Netherlands or California even, where you can really choose the right strain for the right time of day, because perhaps in the evening you might want a heavy indica to help you sleep, and when you wake up you might want a more energizing sativa. Yeah,
I kind of like to have sativa in the morning.
Yeah.
Kind of, 50-50 about midday, and kind of a strong indica at night to help me with insomnia. Because the thing is, I suffer from insomnia, so then, it kind of triggers fatigue, obviously. So you're kind of dealing with both.
Oh, I like a good indica before I go to sleep sometimes. It sorts me out.
Yeah, it kind of helps you, to have a restful night.
And you can get sort of a nice dreamlike experience with those types. So, you did actually get a knock on the door from 5-0, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, 2.5 years ago. I used to work for the youth offending team at the time, and the police kind of, a family member, that's how I was found out, was because I was on the street corner. I got found out because I fell out with a family member, and they kind of thought, it was a great idea to ring the police. So they came. I wasn't here because I was on my way to work. Got a phone call, a text actually, saying, police is in your garden, police is in your house. So I kind of like done a U-turn, came home, walked in, and there was like about 13, 14 coppers in my house.
Okay.
And I knew what to expect because I knew what I was coming home to.
So 13, 14 coppers for a disabled lady who sometimes needs to use a wheelchair.
Yeah. But 2 days prior to that, I need to go back a couple of days, because 2 days prior to that, the chopper was out.
Yeah.
The helicopter was out on the Tuesday. On the Wednesday, they got the warrant, and on the Thursday, they raided me. Okay,
and this obviously incensed you.
So, yeah, I got a caution for 14 plus. That's the bottom line, really, to a long story.
Were they at all sympathetic when they could see that you were...
No, not really. I got manhandled, but I think I kind of got manhandled because of my mouth. Honestly, I wouldn't shut up. They were in my house.
Yeah. Well, I know from what I've known you over the last year that you're a very strong-minded personality, and you don't keep your opinions to yourself. If you've got something to say, you'll say it. Yeah. So I kind of got manhandled, but by the time that the sergeant had to give me a caution, he'd had enough of me, because he just said, get her out of my sight, because I ain't dealing with her no more. So, yeah, that was the bottom line to it. He gave me a caution, told me to get out, because he didn't want to deal with me. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I suppose it's not their fault they don't make the law. No, they just have to enforce it, and I see that now. At the time, don't get me wrong, I used to work with these guys alongside them for the youth offending team. When I had to attend court, I was in court for about a month, not long before that had happened. So I'd work with these guys, we'd liaise together over the youth that was up in court, or whatever, section we was working in. So to me, I kind of felt betrayed, because, I wasn't a criminal. No, you're not. And I kind of was made to feel like it. And you're kind of mentally raped when you're raided for the first time. And yeah, if that hadn't happened, then I wouldn't be where I am today, and I would be the person that I've become. And, I've been in the cannabis movement since 2004.
I can be traced back to 2004. But I was kind of underground because I used to work for a hydroponic company, and then, I was kind of growing, but I was kind of underground movement more than out in the open like I am now. But yeah, me being raided, the way that I was treated by my MP, the way that the government didn't want to know, Home Office didn't want to know, Health Ministers didn't want to know, Justice Ministers didn't want to know. So yeah, it kind of angered me, to how people are treated.
So this is what got you into more vocal activism with groups like NORML, yeah?
That's right.
Okay, well, we'll talk about the government's response a bit in a minute. Let's have some more music now. I've got some tunes from you later on, but we'll have one of mine now. It's a Bob Dylan one called Joker Man. That was Joker Man by Bob Dylan. Didn't realise that was such a long song. It's 6 minutes and 19 seconds long. We've got Tina Mendes here with us. We were talking about cannabis and her medicinal usage and how she had a knock from the old bill a few years ago where she was taken away and manhandled and all not very good stuff. Also, we remember around about the same time the government were pretty anti-cannabis. The then Home Secretary, Jackie Smith, upgraded cannabis from a Class C to a Class B, ignoring the advice of her scientific advisor, Professor Nutt, who was subsequently sacked because he said that the government should listen to the evidence and the scientific advice, so their response was to sack him and find someone else. But today, she's been in the news again today, hasn't she, Tina?
That's right, she has. She's actually admitted, for doing wrong. She's admitted that she shouldn't have, classified it from Class C and upgraded it to Class B. It's good that she's actually recognised this. It's a shame that most politicians only recognise this once they've actually left office. But we're kind of hoping that something positive might come out of it, that she will recognise her error like she has, and that she will help to put right what she helped and allowed to be put wrong. So, it's something that we can look into it. It's something that I believe NORML UK will look deeply into it and possibly contacting her.
She's effectively said, I made a mistake.
That's right, she has. So that's an admittance, and there was a lot of evidence back in the day, and like you so rightly say, Professor Nutt amongst others. But, just to capture on something, he wasn't actually sacked, because you can't sack someone who actually works on a voluntary thing, because he didn't really work for them. He was just kind of on the advisory council for it. So, that's something that I believe it was Jack Straw at the time that said that they sacked him. And Professor Nutt, actually, I saw an interview with him where he actually stated, well, they can't sack me because I don't work for them, they don't pay me. But let's hope that Jackie Smith will help to correct this.
Of course, Nutt now chairs the Independent Scientific
That's
Committee
right.
on Drugs, and
That's right.
he's a very, very respected person.
That's right, he is.
Okay, just having a sip of my kombucha. Just before the show, I opened up a bottle of Gavin's kombucha, which is made in Totnes, and it exploded all over me. It looks like I've wet myself. So.
Another thing that I'd like to see happen in the UK really is the coffee shops.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see that thrive over here. Hopefully something positive, will come out of that. Also, the United Kingdom Cannabis Social Clubs, which are also up and running and up and going, and we're encouraging everyone to, come along on the 1st of December to, the United Kingdom Cannabis Social Clubs, the South region. They're kind of holding a workshop on how to start everything up and how to get, things sorted. So, that's something positive that is happening within the UK.
Follow the Spanish model.
Yeah, something like that. And also the Dutch model. And also on the 2nd of December, if people want to come along to the NORML UK first public meeting that we're also holding in Reading. So, they're more than welcome between 1 and 5. The details are up on our website, NORML UK-UK.org.
Yeah, and soon to be the Uruguayan model as well.
That's right. So there's a lot of models that we can adapt to.
And of course, Mrs. Smith isn't the only politician to say that she's got it wrong. Bob Ainsworth, who was a drugs minister under Tony Blair, he came out, I think a year or so ago, saying that the war on drugs has failed and that he fought that when he was a minister.
Yeah.
And he's now.
And also David Blunkett, he also admitted back in the day. You know, so there are quite a few that. Yeah. You know.
Well, Mr. Cameron, who was suspended from Eton for smoking cannabis, when he was an unknown Tory backbencher, he said similar. He said that the war on drugs has failed and we need to have a different approach. But since they gave him the keys to number 10, it's been back to the same old prohibitionist nonsense. Which,
I mean, exactly. You are the same with the Lib Dems. You know, Nick Clegg actually, you know, it's on YouTube on the video that he said before the elections that it'd be, you know, compassionate towards medical consumption in the UK.
Clegg has clearly shown that he will sell out on anything in order to keep his bum on a ministerial
exactly. You know. And since he's been put into power, basically, you know, the key's been put in the drawer and chucked
have no respect for him, which is a shame because when they were in opposition, the Liberal Democrats were always had some quite a voice of sanity in Parliament.
Yeah.
Where's that gone now?
That's why they've become the condemned, really.
Hello there, this is the Totnes Hemp Show with me, Chris Barvey, talking to Tina Mendes. You still with us, Tina?
Yeah, I'm still here.
You all cool?
Yeah, I'm all cool. Just
you having a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've got a natter for another half hour, but I'm sure we'll think of something to say.
Okay, so you know what? I can talk for England.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love your Cockney accent as well.
Innit? Yeah, innit.
So we were talking about Mrs. Smith and our lovely politicians before, but since the last time we did a show, because I haven't done a show for a few weeks, I've been jetting off around the world. There's been some news. Obama was re-elected, but that's not so interesting. But what was interesting, there was a few referenda on that day as well, where they opted for full legalization in 2 states.
That's
right. That Washington and Colorado, is it?
That's right. They were the very first 2 states to actually legalize cannabis. They were defeated in Oregon in Massachusetts, where voters agreed to legalize for medical. You know, joining 17 other states. Really, they legalized for possession and sale. You know, which is really, really great stuff. Really positive stuff for the movement. I always said that, you know, prohibition started in America and it has to end in America so that the rest of the world can kind of follow suit. You know, I believe that we should be able to grow our own medicine, whether it's for recreational or medicinal, as long as you're not doing on an industrial scale. You know, if you're just doing a few plants for domestic, then you should just be allowed to do that and just be left alone. You know, a lot of things would happen. I don't believe that we should be taxed for it. I don't believe that, you know, we should have to apply for a license for it.
No.
I believe that we should just be basically left alone. And this is me talking Tina, you know. So I just want to get that across.
Yeah. Well, any commercial sale could be taxed.
That's right, an industrial, but that's different scale. You're talking.
Well, like at the moment, you can brew your own beer.
That's right.
That's right. I mean, have a license to do that.
You know, I make a lot of things with waste, what people call waste. You know, to make butter, to make creams, to make this, to make that, and I save a lot of money, and I save the NHS a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, certainly the idea of paying for a license has absolutely zero support in the UK cannabis community.
That's right, and it's something that I don't support. I know for a fact that NORML UK does not support that either.
No.
You know, if it did, I wouldn't be there, and I'm sure you wouldn't either.
No. I think we won't mention any names, but there was another vote last week where someone who does support that got the lowest ever vote for a cannabis candidate ever.
Well, we won't go there.
No, that name is banned.
That's right, we won't go there. But yeah, I mean, that was all a joke by itself, you know, nothing compared to what's gone on in America.
Yeah.
Great success out there
yeah.
over this.
And of course, NORML have been
USA
very much instrumental in achieving
That's right,
this.
very much involved in everything over there. So I think that is a great victory for the people over there. It's a great victory for the movement in itself. I think it kind of gave everyone a boost, you know, that things do change. And I had a conversation with the chief of police, you know, not that long ago, a few days ago. He's a retired chief of police, but nonetheless, and you know, he actually agrees with what we're doing. You know, we're not engaging in organised crime. You know, it's great stuff what's happening, and before we didn't have anything. You know, remember back before February this year, we didn't have nothing. It didn't matter whether you were growing one plant or 100 plants. You know, punishment was more or less the same. Now you kind of got sentencing guidelines. You know, and we're kind of being given stuff, but we're not being given it at the pace that we want it to be given at. You know, so slowly they're kind of giving it to us.
Yeah, but certainly a lot of police officers. There was a recent report which concluded that cannabis was no worse than junk food. I actually disagree with that. I think junk food is worse than cannabis, but that was a report of lawyers, judges, and police officers. You probably remember that, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, you know, and I said earlier about we kind of saving on the NHS myself. You know, I have a friend, a mate of mine, he's on Sativex. He gets 6 bottles every month, you know, at a cost of about £940 a month.
For
you know, the taxpayers.
Not very good extra.
You know, no, and where he can grow and save the taxpayers on it. You know, coffee shops.
That's supposed to be heavy in CBD. I tried a strain of Skunk Times Haze, which was from CBD Crew Seeds. Big thank you to Howard Marks and Tony from Dutch Passion, who I believe behind this project. I have to say, it's a really, really nice bit of ganja. Not edgy at all. I think that was the high CBD
No, I tasted
content.
some of it.
You had some of it as well?
Yeah. And it kind of helped my fatigue an enormous amount, because I was really suffering from fatigue at the time, and I kind of had some of that, and
but that's not allowed, but you can have your £125 a bottle of GW Farmers Sativex.
Yeah, you get
mixed with peppermint.
A month. Yeah.
I told you I said this before. It's like toothpaste and cannabis.
Yeah. You know, when you can have raw medical cannabis, which you can make edibles, butter, you can make so much with it.
Yeah, and of course that's only one strain, and as we were saying earlier, there's a lot more strains that you need for various times
of the day. That's right, and you are correct when you say that, Chris. You know, because I find that if I smoke a very strong sativa, or even a more dominant sativa in the morning, then I'm kind of not as good as if I smoked a very high content sativa.
Yeah. What's your view on recreational use?
I haven't got a problem with that, to be honest with you. I mean, my fight is medical, but I support anyone that wants to do whatever they want to do over the age of consent. If it makes them happy, go for it. I mean, if people are entitled to go out and get drunk and do whatever they want to do, why can't someone come home and just chill and have a spliff? I don't see nothing wrong with that.
No, there's a funny story on BBC News which I saw online. It's one of those on their sort of most read stories. And an Australian guy had been kicked out of the pub, and he was so drunk that he went along to a local crocodile enclosure and climbed in and tried to ride the crocodile. The crocodile, saltwater one, obviously bit him. He was lucky he didn't get killed, but could you imagine somebody getting stoned and going off and getting in with the crocodile enclosure to have a go on? Try and play horsey with the crocodile. It's just not going to happen. No,
it's not going to happen. So you don't see that kind of thing with cannabis consumers. See, what I don't like the stigma that's out there, that every cannabis consumer is a druggie, is lazy, don't work. That is not the case
not
at all.
true. It's,
Exactly, it is not true. I have plenty of friends who've got professional, you know, degrees and diplomas, and they're professional people, and some run their own businesses, and they consume cannabis.
Yeah.
You know,
I run a company that smoke cannabis.
so you know the stigma that's out there that needs to be broken.
Now, I've got nothing against people who drink, but certainly I think alcohol causes far more problems. Did you know in America they actually had less problems with alcohol in states where cannabis is easier available?
Yeah.
But then you sometimes think, well, the government gets a lot of tax in alcohol and
in revenue, exactly.
Their friends in big business who own all the breweries.
Right. With government, it's all about money talks. You know, unfortunately.
When it should be about compassion and doing
That's
the
right.
right
It
thing.
should be about compassion. You know, people shouldn't have to justify why they consume cannabis, whether it's spiritual, emotional, psychological, physical, medical, whatever. You know, people should just be able to go into a coffee shop and chill, like people go into pubs and chill.
Well,
you know, I'd like to be able to go into a coffee shop and relax with my friends.
Of course you should. Well, medication is recreation, and recreation is medication, I always say.
You know, it's when I get together with you guys, yeah, I like to have a smoke. You know?
Why? What?
Kind of socialise.
Like Clark French, who's been on, you know, Clark, he always says, oh, what's wrong with enjoying my medicine?
Exactly. You know, I agree with Clark, 100%.
Yeah.
I really do.
So we were talking about prohibition. Of course, alcohol prohibition didn't last very long in America. Did you know you could get actually a prescription for whiskey in America during there were all sorts of ways around it.
You know.
And one of the consequences of ending alcohol prohibition was there was a big network of law enforcement officers that needed employment. And Hearst, who owned great swathes of forestry across America, wanted to see cannabis or the hemp plant eliminated because it was such a threat to the paper industry.
That's right.
They wanted to cut down those trees to make paper. So a hemp plant, grows quite high in a matter of months. Whereas a pine tree takes 20 years to fully grow at least. And that's right. The fastest growing tree.
That's right.
And hemp paper is actually better quality.
That's right, it is.
You can't get it because it's expensive, but that's only because of the restrictions made on the hemp or cannabis plant. I think there's only one wholesaler of hemp paper in the whole of Europe.
Okay.
And it's ridiculous.
Yes, it is. You know, I mean, can you imagine, like, if they tried to impose prohibition on alcohol now, this day and age?
Well, I'm sure the mafia or the organised criminals would they'd get in on it, just as they have with the cannabis trade.
Exactly.
It's just there's no reason for keeping it prohibited.
You know, Chris, in my own personal view as Tina Mendes, which is who I'm on your radio show as today, I'm not on your radio show as part of, well, you know, as one of the co-founders of NORML UK. So, you know, prohibition to me is just a kind of label so that organised crime can hide behind, because, you know, prohibition doesn't solve the issue. You know, it kind of drives it underground. And the worst thing is that, you know, drug dealers in the street, they don't ask your kids how old they are, but what the colour of their money is.
Yeah, and the cost of policing it is astronomical.
That's right. I mean, I know that the government spends £15.4 billion a year on you know, prohibition. I'm sure the figure's a lot more than that, but
you've got the cost of policing it, the cost of the courts, the cost of cost of imprisoning people if first custodial sentences are given.
That's right.
The whole thing, and also the loss in revenue.
That's right. You know,
they could gain in both maybe VAT or excise duties, which they don't get because they leave it to the criminal black market.
That's right. So,
and all on the basis of a lie. Because the cannabis is not toxic. So you have to smoke, I think, 14 kilos of it for a toxic amount. It's impossible.
Chris, you can't OD on cannabis, right?
No.
I've tried. You can't.
Yeah, that's why you could go.
I have tried so damn hard, and you can't.
No.
You know, I've gone with no sleep for 24 hours, and you can't. You can't.
Just to make you feel better.
You know, it's just one of
I
those...
would say the worst times I've ever had with cannabis is mixing it with alcohol, where sometimes you get the dreaded merry-go-round.
Yeah.
But I've never had a merry-go-round with...
Just on cannabis.
Yeah. But what would get the blame if somebody has the merry-go-round because they've drunk too much alcohol and for it, I say, oh, that's the cannabis.
Yeah. That's stereotyping. It's like, you know, cannabis gets the blame for everything. If someone drives under the influence of cannabis and other substances, because normally there is other substances, but cannabis is what comes out in the surface all the time. It's like they are using cannabis to kind of deal with something that, you know, they need to go to the root of the problem and stop blaming cannabis for everything.
Yeah. Okay then, well we're going to play some more music here. This is something you told me to download earlier on. It's called Ganja Mama Margers. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the other one after that one, but
I think it's one I found. I couldn't find the one you were looking for, and I found this instead. But I listened to it earlier on, and it's great.
All right then, great.
It's a good chat, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll just speak for a couple more minutes, and then we'll finish with one last tune. What's the future now, do you think?
Well, I mean, we need to target loads of different organisations, police crime commissioners and so on and so forth, really. You know, I don't believe that anything's going to change drastically within the next 6 months, but I believe that things are going to change. The more people that get united, the more people that come and join us at NORML UK, come and meet us on the 2nd of December.
That's in Reading, yeah?
That's right, that's in Reading.
Yeah, I'll be there, you'll be there.
That's right, I'll be there.
Des will be there.
Yeah, Des will be there, Greg will be there.
He's in the Netherlands at the moment, having a whale of a time.
That's right, they are. So, you know, there'll be loads of us there. Come and meet the team, come and have a chat with us, so we can actually tell you what we've been doing. You know, just come and have a look around, see what we're up to, see where we aim to be going. There's loads of things happening, loads of projects starting up, loads of teams coming up and joining us. So, you know, come along.
And get involved and also tell us what to do better, you know.
Yeah, tell us what you'd like.
All the answers,
That's right. Tell us what you'd like to see us doing that we ain't doing, or where you'd like us to kind of tackle that we ain't tackling.
Yeah.
You know, we're a pressure group, you know, so just come and join us.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of hope. The BBC poll, which on that programme Clark French was on, got 69% in favour of decriminalisation. The voter initiatives we were talking about in the USA passed by quite considerable margins.
Yeah, that's right. You know, there'll be loads of events happening next year as well. We'll have the AGM in February.
Yeah, that should be in Bath, right?
That's right. There's the 420 happening as well at Hyde Park and hopefully other major cities in the UK. There's the Cannabis Global March
in Cardiff.
In Cardiff as well. So there'll be loads of stuff happening next year. Come and join us. Come and support us. Come and be the change that the cannabis community and movement in the UK needs. So, you know, united we will prevail. Okay,
well, thanks, Tina. Thank you very much for coming on the show at such short notice and having a yarn.
All right.
This is Beck, and this is Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime.
Thanks for having me.